Katie Beers, a young girl, entered this world on December 30th, 1982, in the coastal town of Mastic Beach, situated on Long Island. Her birth date, right in the midst of the holiday season between Christmas and New Year's Eve, added a unique touch to her story. Yet, it is through the lens of a particular and distressing incident that she would later become widely recognized as the girl in the wall.
He threw me on the bed.
I just want my daughter back. Please bring her back.
And then I was screaming my brains out.
I heard her say a man was coming after her with a knife, and she said, oh my God, here he comes.
He started kissing me.
Our biggest concern is that we find this child, well and safe.
My hand hit a nail.
The last time I seen her was when she was walking towards the machine. I started getting scared.
Then he locked me in that little cubby hole.
Katie Beers, a 9-year-old girl, endured a harrowing ordeal, facing abduction, assault, imprisonment, and exploitation at the hands of her godmother and her sexually deviant husband. For over 3 weeks, Long Island police tirelessly investigated this disturbing situation, seeking to rescue the captive child. One investigator remarked, "She's behind the wall. If she's behind the wall, she's not alive." However, to their astonishment, Katie was already taking matters into her own hands. She displayed remarkable resilience and determination, ultimately changing her kidnapper's mind. Growing up in Bayshore, Long Island, Katie lived in a Cinderella-like existence after her mother abandoned her. Her godmother, Linda, and her husband, Sal, subjected her to servitude, where she was compelled to do household chores and essentially treated as a slave. Katie's godmother was not her only source of torment. From the age of 2, she endured sexual abuse by her godmother's husband. At 7 years old, she attempted to confide in her godmother about this abuse, only to face dismissal and disbelief. Isolated from regular childhood experiences, Katie had no friends her age, except for John Esposito, a family friend. Their relationship was unique and special to Katie, who considered him a confidant and a trustworthy presence. However, 2 days before her 10th birthday, Katie's life took a terrifying turn. She was abducted, leaving her with John as they went to Spaceplex, her favorite place in Long Island. Unbeknownst to Katie, John was the mastermind behind her abduction, which marked the beginning of her horrific ordeal. John took Katie to a hidden underground dungeon accessible through a tunnel behind the walls of his house. Inside this dungeon, she was imprisoned, surrounded by chains and subjected to sexual assault. Katie's desperate attempt to call for help led to a frantic search by the police. However, it was later discovered that the call was staged by her captor, designed to mislead investigators. As Katie endured her captivity, she displayed incredible resilience. She managed to escape from the soundproof casket and hidden room within the dungeon, using a key she found to unlock her chains. Still, she remained trapped with her abductor nearby. The investigation into her disappearance initially focused on family members, including her biological mother, Marilyn, and her godmother's husband, Sal, both of whom had potential motives. However, these leads did not yield evidence. The police also scrutinized John Esposito, a family friend who had a criminal history and a suspicious background. Eventually, he emerged as the prime suspect, and it was revealed that he had orchestrated Katie's abduction, shocking those who had considered him a close friend. As the days continued to pass, the sense of foreboding grew stronger. There was an increasing belief that the outcome they were heading towards was not the discovery of a living Katie Beers, but the discovery of her lifeless body. Several days later, a glimmer of hope emerged when Katie woke up in the dim, haunting confines of the underground dungeon. Her tormentor, John Esposito, had secured a chain around her neck, a cruel symbol of her captivity. It was during this moment that she realized that the key she had managed to obtain was meant for the padlock that kept her in bondage. With a profound sense of determination, she managed to free herself. But before releasing the padlock, she meticulously counted the links on her chain and the links that connected her to the dungeon's wall, an act driven by both necessity and the desperation to maintain her fragile grip on hope. In the initial stages of her captivity, whenever she heard Esposito approaching, Katie would quickly and instinctively rechain herself, following the precise pattern he had set for her. However, as time went on, her situation took a pivotal turn. The relentless surveillance by the police, who strongly suspected Esposito's involvement in her disappearance, meant that she was seldom alone. Detective Varone, a dedicated investigator, even ventured into the heart of her captor's domain to interrogate him personally. In a disturbing turn of events, Esposito began to make desperate requests of Katie, believing that he could manipulate her into cooperating with his horrific plans. But this 10-year-old girl, wise beyond her years, recognized the peril in compliance. She steadfastly refused to play dead or permit him to photograph her, fully aware that this could be the death sentence he desired to evade the relentless pursuit of the police. She was resolute in her refusal, despite the ominous atmosphere of her subterranean prison. Amid her dire circumstances, Katie found it difficult to sleep and hesitated to consume any food, suspecting that her captor might introduce sedatives or sleeping pills to render her pliable for a staged photograph designed to halt the search efforts by law enforcement. In a remarkable display of courage, Katie decided to confront her captor. She began to barrage him with questions, hoping to make him reconsider his actions and the long-term consequences of his heinous deeds. She asked about her future, her dreams of going to school, getting married, and having children. His responses were often chilling, laced with unsettling propositions that revolted the young girl. In the midst of adversity, she was determined to compel him to contemplate the gravity of his actions and the far-reaching implications of kidnapping a child. As the pressure mounted, John Esposito, worn down by the relentless police presence, Detective Varone's persistent surveillance, and Katie's unwavering inquisition, began to reveal signs of cracking. He shared with her his intentions, confiding that he was contemplating ending his own life or fleeing the scene. Katie understood that if she allowed this to happen, her fate would likely be sealed, either at his hands or within the confines of the dungeon where she was imprisoned. Taking a calculated risk, Katie informed him that she was unwell, and it appeared that her words, coupled with the relentless police scrutiny and her persistent questioning, had finally taken a toll on her captor. It was this mounting pressure that pushed John Esposito to the brink. In a dramatic and surprising turn of events, he contacted his attorney, sharing a shocking revelation. "I know where Katie is." Perplexed, the attorney sought clarification, and Esposito's response left everyone astounded. "She's behind the wall." It was at this moment that Detective Varone and all those involved in the case began to fathom that John Esposito was no ordinary kidnapper, but a calculated and cunning mastermind. John Esposito then played an instrumental role in guiding the police and the district attorney through the intricate process of unearthing the hidden dungeon. This process involved over 30 meticulous steps, further attesting to the meticulous planning and sinister intent behind his actions.